She laughed when I called her cute. Then her fist collided with my chest so hard that her own people gasped. In that single moment, I realized I'd not only offended a warrior of a fierce alien race, but also ignited something neither of us could ignore. What began as a simple engineering assignment would become a test of honor, survival, and an impossible bond. The transport shuttle shuddered as it cut through Keithmore's rust-colored atmosphere. Through the viewport, Kai Brennan watched jagged crystalline formations rise from blood-red soil like the teeth of some ancient, slumbering beast. Metallic dust storms swirled in the distance, their edges glinting with dangerous promise in the light of twin suns. "First time on Cathmore?" The shuttle pilot's voice crackled through the comm system. Kai nodded, unable to tear his gaze from the alien landscape. "First time working with sectors, too." "Well, you're in for quite an experience." The pilot chuckled, but there was an edge to his voice. "Forward base, Talon's a different world inside a different world. The sectors run a tight ship." The shuttle banked sharply, revealing a gleaming structure nestled between towering crystal spires. Forward base, Talon, a testament to human sector cooperation and the frontline defense against Vrex incursions in this sector. Its architecture stretched tall and narrow, designed for the 7-foot frames of their sector allies. As they approached the landing pad, Kai reviewed his mission briefing one last time. Quantum stabilizer repairs. Critical to base defenses. Work directly with sector engineers. Simple enough in theory. In practice, his stomach tightened. The stabilizers used sector harmonic technology, something human engineers had only begun to understand. The shuttle touched down with a gentle thud. Captain Morrison, the human liaison officer, waited on the landing pad, his expression impassive beneath his environmental mask. "Brennan," Morrison greeted him, offering a firm handshake as Kai disembarked. "Good to have you. How was the trip?" "Long," Kai admitted, "but the view made up for it." Morrison nodded, guiding him toward the airlock. "Before we go in, there's something you need to understand about sector customs." His voice dropped to a serious tone. "Especially regarding female warriors." Kai listened attentively as Morrison outlined the cultural minefield he was about to enter. Their females are the apex of their society. Warriors, engineers, leaders, never, under any circumstances, comment on their appearance or abilities in ways that might seem diminishing. Terms like cute, pretty, even impressive can be perceived as patronizing. And the consequences? Morrison trailed off, his eyes darkening. "Let's just say, I've seen engineers sent home in body bags for less." The airlock hissed open, and they stepped into Forward Base Talon's main corridor. The ceiling soared overhead, accommodating the towering sector frame. The air carried a faint metallic tang. Not unpleasant, but distinctly alien. "Your primary contact will be Commander Thera," Morrison continued. "She's the head engineer for the quantum stabilizer system. Brilliant, even by sector standards, but traditional. Follow her lead, speak only when spoken to, and for God's sake, watch your compliments." As if summoned by her name, a figure appeared at the far end of the corridor. Kai felt his breath catch. Commander Thera stood nearly 7 feet tall, her exoskeleton gleaming obsidian in the base's lighting. Sharp angles defined her form, yet there was an undeniable grace to her movements. 4 crimson eyes tracked their approach, unblinking and intense. "Captain Morrison," she greeted, her voice a harmonious blend of clicks and words that the translator rendered with surprising warmth. "This is the human engineer?" "Yes, Commander. This is Kai Brennan, quantum specialist from Earth Central." Thera's gaze fell on Kai, studying him with unsettling thoroughness. He met her eyes and offered a respectful nod, trying to mask his discomfort. "Your reputation precedes you. Engineer Brennan," she said finally. "The stabilizers await your attention. Follow me." Without waiting for a response, she turned and strode down the corridor, her movements precise and deliberate. Kai exchanged a glance with Morrison, who gave him an encouraging nod before departing in the opposite direction. The engineering bay was a marvel of combined human and sector technology. Crystalline matrices pulsed with energy alongside familiar human interfaces. 13 sector engineers worked in silent efficiency, their movements almost choreographed in their precision. The quantum stabilizers have been experiencing harmonic drift, Thera explained, leading him to a central console. Holographic displays danced with complex waveforms. The crystals resonate at frequencies your human hardware struggles to interpret. The result is cascading failures in the shield grid. Kai studied the readouts, recognizing patterns in the chaos. I see the problem. The harmonic oscillations are out of phase with our buffering algorithms. He leaned closer, his mind already racing through potential solutions. The elegance of the sector crystal matrices impressed him, the way they channeled energy through perfectly aligned lattices, each resonating in harmony with the others. Your approach is... He paused, searching for the right word. In that moment, admiration overcame caution. Cute. The word hung in the air for one heartbeat, then two. The engineering bay fell silent, 13 sector workers freezing in place. Thera's crimson eyes narrowed to slits, and her hand moved to the plasma blade at her hip. What did you say? Her voice was deadly quiet, each translated word precise and cold. Kai's stomach dropped as he realized his mistake. I meant... But before he could correct himself, Thera moved. Her fist connected with his chest with such force that he flew backward, colliding with the far wall before crumpling to the floor. Pain exploded through his ribcage. He gasped for air, vision swimming. Through the haze, he registered something unexpected. The collective gasp from the sector engineers. They weren't celebrating. They were shocked. And Thera herself stood motionless, her 4 eyes wide, mandibles clicking rapidly in what might have been confusion. Then darkness claimed him. Kai awoke in the infirmary, the sharp smell of antiseptic filling his nostrils. A diagnostic panel beside his bed displayed his vitals in reassuring green. His chest throbbed with each breath. You're either very brave or very foolish, came a gravelly voice. Perhaps both. An elderly sector sat beside his bed, exoskeleton weathered to a dull gray. 4 eyes regarded him with what might have been amusement. Elder Corin, the sector introduced himself. Cultural liaison and, occasionally, damage control. Kai tried to sit up, wincing as pain lanced through his ribs. I made a terrible mistake. I didn't mean to offend Commander Thera. Offense? Elder Corin's mandibles clicked softly. Is that what you think happened? I called her work cute. Captain Morrison warned me. Yes. A grave insult to a female warrior. Corin waved a clawed hand dismissively. But that's not why the engineering bay fell silent. It's what happened after. Kai frowned. After? She blushed, Corin said simply. A deep purple beneath her exoskeleton. A biological response no human has ever triggered in a sector female warrior. And then, Engineer Brennan, she pulled her punch. Pulled her. She was trying not to hurt me. If Commander Thera had struck you with full force, we wouldn't be having this conversation. Your ribcage would have shattered, puncturing your lungs and heart. Corin leaned forward. Instead, you have 3 cracked ribs and significant bruising. She calibrated her strike precisely, enough to satisfy honor without killing you. Kai processed this information slowly. Why would she do that? That, Elder Corin said, rising to his feet, is the question that has our entire community buzzing. I suggest you recover quickly. The quantum stabilizers still need repair, and Commander Thera has requested you return to duty as soon as medically cleared. She wants me back? Kai couldn't mask his surprise. Indeed. Corin moved toward the door, then paused. One piece of advice. Engineer Brennan, tread carefully. You've stepped into waters deeper than you know. 2 days later, ribs still tender, but functional. Kai returned to the engineering bay. Conversations ceased as he entered, sector engineers watching him with newfound interest. At the central console, Commander Thera stood tall and imposing, her back to him. "Engineer Brennan," she acknowledged without turning. "Your medical clearance was expedient." "The stabilizers won't fix themselves," Kai replied, attempting professionalism despite his nervousness. "No, they will not." She finally faced him, her crimson eyes unreadable. "We will continue where we left off. The harmonic drift has worsened in your absence." They worked in tense silence, Kai carefully analyzing wave patterns, while Thera made precise adjustments to crystal alignments. The other engineers maintained a respectful distance, though Kai caught them watching when they thought he wasn't looking. "The primary matrix is responding to the recalibration," Kai noted after several hours. "But the secondary harmonics are still out of phase." Thera clicked her mandibles thoughtfully. "Your observation is accurate. The crystals resist the new alignment parameters." Something in her tone had shifted, a grudging recognition of his technical insight. Kai ventured further. "If we introduce a cascading algorithm to gradually shift the resonance, it would strain the integration points." Her response was immediate, but not dismissive. "Not if we buffer each transition with quantum dampeners." Thera considered this, her head tilting slightly. "Show me." Kai worked at the console, aware of her towering presence beside him. He coded rapidly, implementing the solution he envisioned. As the algorithm took shape, he sensed Thera leaning closer. Her interest piqued. "Execute the sequence," she instructed. The holographic display flashed as the algorithm deployed. For a moment, the harmonic patterns destabilized, wavering dangerously. Then, gradually, they realigned, settling into a smoother, more coherent pattern. "The drift is reducing," Thera observed, genuine surprise in her voice. "Your solution is effective." Coming from her, it felt like high praise. Kai smiled despite himself. "It's just the first step. We'll need to implement similar adjustments throughout the system." They worked late into the cycle, each successful modification strengthening both the stabilizers and their tentative professional rapport. As the engineering bay emptied for the night shift, Thera abruptly broke their technical discussion. "You should have died," she stated matter-of-factly. Kai's hands stilled on the console. "So I've been told. Do you understand why you did not?" He turned to face her. "Elder Corrin mentioned something about a blush?" Thera's mandibles clicked rapidly. Embarrassment, perhaps. "A biological response. Involuntary. It has never occurred before in my interactions with humans." "And that's why you pulled your punch?" "I did not make a conscious decision to modulate my strike." Her 4 eyes fixed on him intently. "My body acted of its own accord. This troubles me." Kai wasn't sure how to respond. The admission seemed deeply personal, almost vulnerable, a stark contrast to her warrior persona. "Among my people," she continued, "such a response indicates—" She searched for the word. "Compatibility. It is rare even between sectors." The implications hung in the air between them. Kai felt a strange warmth spreading through his chest that had nothing to do with his healing ribs. "I should teach you our ways," Thera decided abruptly, "to prevent further incidents." Over the following days, their work fell into a rhythm. By day, they tackled the stabilizer repairs, making steady progress. During breaks, Thera taught Kai sector customs, the meaning behind different mandible clicks, proper responses to various social cues, the intricate honor code that governed her society. "Your hand gesture, no, not like that." She demonstrated the correct position. Palm flat, finger spread. It acknowledges respect without submission. Kai mirrored her movement, earning an approving nod. "And this variation?" He subtly adjusted the angle. "That Her voice lowered. That signals more intimate intentions. Do not use it in public. He quickly corrected his hand position, noting the slight darkening of her exoskeleton, the blush Elder Corrin had mentioned. Late one cycle, as they worked on a particularly delicate quantum matrix adjustment. Thera fell silent, watching as Kai scaffolded a complex harmonic sequence. The stabilizer responded immediately, its efficiency jumping by 15%. You understand our technology, she said quietly. Few humans grasp the underlying principles so quickly. It's beautiful, Kai admitted. The way the crystals respond to each other, anticipating harmonics before they even form. It's like they're communicating on a level we can barely perceive. Thera studied him with new intensity. Perhaps that is why... She didn't finish the thought, but her clawed hand briefly touched his shoulder, the first voluntary contact since the punch. The moment was interrupted by a sudden, piercing alarm. Red emergency lights bathed the engineering bay as the base's automated system announced, "Perimeter breach. Vrex raid detected. All personnel to battle stations." "The shields," Thera hissed, turning back to the console. "Without fully stabilized quantum harmonics, they cannot withstand a sustained attack." As if to confirm her words, the base shuddered under impact. Kai steadied himself against the console. "We need to finish the primary integration now. It won't be perfect, but it might hold." They worked frantically, Kai coding while Thera aligned crystals with preternatural precision. The base rocked with explosions, debris falling from overhead conduits. Warning signals flashed across their displays. "The eastern quadrant is taking heavy fire," Kai noted, scanning the incoming data. "Reactor conduit showing strain." A massive explosion cut him off, the shockwave rippling through the engineering tunnels. Overhead, a reactor conduit ruptured, superheated plasma arcing wildly. Kai lunged for the emergency containment controls, engaging the quantum matrix shield just as the conduit fully breached. The shield activated, containing most of the plasma, but not before a section of ceiling broke free directly above Thera, who remained focused on the critical crystal alignment. Without thinking, Kai threw himself forward, shoving her aside with all his strength. The debris caught him glancingly across the shoulder, searing pain blossoming as he stumbled and fell. Thera's four eyes widened, her mandibles spreading in alarm. "You..." Another explosion rocked the base, this one closer. The engineering bay's integrity alarms blared. Above them, the central ceiling segment groaned ominously. Thera moved with blinding speed. One moment she stood across the room. The next, she was throwing herself over Kai as the ceiling collapsed. Her exoskeleton took the brunt of the impact, shielding his more fragile human form. They lay pressed together, faces inches apart, her body curved protectively over his. "You would risk yourself for me," she whispered, her translator barely audible above the chaos. "Without hesitation," Kai answered, his heart pounding from adrenaline and her proximity. Around them, sparks fell like strange snow. The base's shields flickered visibly through the damaged ceiling. In that moment of shared danger, something fundamental shifted between them. Thera's clawed hand grasped his face with surprising gentleness. Her four eyes searched his for one breath, two, and then she pressed her face to his in what could only be a kiss. Alien, yet unmistakable in its intention. A warrior's declaration that transcended species. The moment broke as emergency systems finally engaged, stabilizing the damaged section. Together, they scrambled to their feet and returned to the console, working in perfect tandem to restore shield harmonics. Within minutes, the quantum stabilizers reached optimal efficiency, reinforcing the base's defenses. The Vrex Raiders, meeting unexpected resistance, retreated into Kothmor's rust-colored sky. As the all-clear sounded, Kai and Thera stood side by side at the console, neither acknowledging what had passed between them, yet both acutely aware that everything had changed. The days following the Vrex raid brought a flurry of reconstruction activity. Forward base. Talon hummed with renewed purpose as damage was repaired and defenses strengthened. Through it all, Kai and Thera moved as a unit, overseeing stabilizer enhancements with quiet efficiency. But something else moved through the base as well. Whispers. Humans and sectors alike exchanged knowing glances when the pair passed. The engineer who made a warrior blush became something of a legend, spreading from the engineering bay to every corner of the base. Captain Morrison cornered Kai in the mess hall, his expression a mix of concern and reluctant admiration. "Your efficiency ratings are through the roof," he noted, sliding into the seat opposite Kai. "The sectors are impressed with the stabilizer improvements." "Commander Thera deserves most of the credit," Kai replied, pushing his food around his plate. "Her crystal alignments were perfect." "It's not just your work they're talking about." Morrison leaned forward, lowering his voice. "High Command has taken notice of your collaboration. Word is, Sector Elders will arrive within the week." Kai's fork paused midway to his mouth. "Is that a problem?" "Depends on how you define problem." Morrison sighed. "Look, I'm glad you two have found a way to work together. Hell, the whole base benefits from it. But Sector Elders are traditionalists. They might not be so impressed by romance across species lines." "It's not," Kai began automatically, then stopped himself. What was it, exactly? He couldn't deny the connection that had formed between them, especially since the raid. Morrison offered a knowing smile. "Just watch yourself. You're in uncharted territory here." That evening, a soft chime at Kai's quarters announced a visitor. When the door slid open, Thera stood in the corridor, her imposing frame somehow more vulnerable than he'd ever seen it. "May I enter?" Her voice was formal, but her mandibles clicked in a pattern he now recognized as nervousness. Kai stepped aside, and she ducked through the doorway. His quarters, designed for human proportions, made her seem even larger. Yet she moved with careful grace, mindful of the lower ceiling. "The sector delegation arrives tomorrow," she said without preamble. 3 elders, including Elder Corrin. Captain Morrison mentioned they were coming. Kai gestured for her to sit, but she remained standing. "Should I be concerned?" "Yes." The directness of her answer startled him. "They come to evaluate our bond." "Our bond?" He echoed the term, uncertain of its implications. "What passed between us during the Vrex raid was more significant than you understand." Her exoskeleton darkened slightly around her neck, the now familiar blush. "Among my people, such an act is a declaration of intent. A warrior does not shield another unless their lives are entwined." "And the kiss?" "That was..." She looked away briefly. "That was something I have never done before. With anyone." The weight of her admission settled over him. Kai moved closer, looking up into her alien face. "I've never felt this way before either. Whatever is happening between us, whatever this bond is, I don't regret it." "Nor do I." Her admission came softly. "But I fear for you, if the elders disapprove, then we'll face that together." He reached for her hand, his fingers interlacing with her claws in the intimate gesture she had taught him. Thera's response was immediate and unexpected. She pulled him closer, her free hand tracing the outline of his face with impossible delicacy. "I have never known fear in battle," she confessed. "Yet I fear losing this. Losing you." The space between them vanished as she bent down, her face meeting his in a more deliberate version of their first kiss. What began as gentle exploration quickly deepened into something more urgent, more primal, human, and sector. Yet the language of desire translated perfectly between them. They made love in the cramped quarters, discovering each other's bodies with equal parts wonder and passion. Her exoskeleton warmed beneath his touch, sensitive in ways he would never have imagined. His skin yielded to her careful claws, trust overcoming any instinctive fear. They moved together as the twin sons of Cathmore sat outside his viewport, casting the room in crimson shadows. Afterward, as they lay entwined, Thera spoke of sector tradition, of the rarity of cross-species bonds, of the potential consequences. The elders may demand proof of our compatibility, of our mutual honor. Then we'll give it to them, Kai promised, running his fingers along the smooth planes of her exoskeleton. Whatever it takes. The drums of ceremony echoed through forward base Talon the following morning, announcing the arrival of the sector delegation. Kai stood beside Captain Morrison in the grand reception hall, dressed in his formal uniform. Across the room, Thera waited with her engineering team, her obsidian exoskeleton polished to a mirror shine. The delegation entered with solemn ceremony. Elder Korin, whom Kai recognized from the infirmary, War Leader Vexar, a battle-scarred sector, whose exoskeleton bore the marks of countless conflicts, and Elder Prime Zareth, whose advanced age was evident in the pale, almost translucent quality of her carapace. Esteemed elders, Captain Morrison stepped forward, offering the formal greeting Kai had practiced countless times. Forward base, Talon welcomes your wisdom and counsel. Elder Prime Zareth acknowledged the greeting with a subtle mandible click. We come to observe the fruits of cooperation between our peoples, and to evaluate certain developments. Her gaze drifted meaningfully between Kai and Thera. The implication couldn't have been clearer. The day proceeded with formal inspections of the base's facilities, focusing particularly on the enhanced quantum stabilizers. Kai and Thera presented their innovations separately, professional and precise in their explanations. The elders commended the technical achievements but remained silent on the matter of their relationship. As evening approached, Captain Morrison intercepted Kai in the corridor. The Grand Council chamber has been prepared. The elders have called for a formal hearing. A hearing? Alarm threaded through Kai's voice. What exactly does that mean? It means they've made their observations and now want answers. Morrison's expression was grim. You and Commander Thera will stand before them together. Be honest. Be respectful. And for God's sake, don't try to downplay whatever is between you. Sectors value truth above all else. The Grand Council chamber intimidated by design. Soaring ceilings, walls etched with the ancient history of sector conflicts, and a raised dais where the three elders sat in judgment. Kai and Thera stood side by side before them, neither touching but close enough that their presence bolstered each other. War Leader Vexar spoke first, his voice like stone grinding against stone. Engineer Brennan, Commander Thera, your technical collaboration has strengthened forward base Talon. This is not in dispute. Elder Korin continued, nor is the unusual nature of your connection. What began with violence has transformed into something our records have never documented between human and sector. Elder Prime Zareth leaned forward, her ancient eyes focusing intently on them. Do you understand the sacred bond you have formed? What will you do if it dishonors our code? The chamber fell silent, the question hanging heavily in the air. Kai felt all eyes upon him, human and sector alike. His pulse quickened, but he stood taller, meeting the elder's gaze directly. Respected elders, he began, voice steady despite his racing heart. I understand that what has formed between Commander Thera and myself is unprecedented. I know that it challenges traditions older than my entire civilization. He paused, gathering his thoughts. But I also know this. I love her, and I accept any burden that comes with that love. She has risked everything for me, as I have for her. Our union makes us stronger, not just as individuals, but as representatives of what our peoples can achieve together. War Leader. Vexar's mandibles clicked sharply. Strong words from a human. Commander Thera, what say you? Does this bond honor the warrior code you have sworn to uphold? Thera stepped forward, her posture embodying both strength and certainty. "He is my equal in battle and honor," she declared. "When death threatened, he shielded me without hesitation, not from duty, but from choice. I have found in him a warrior spirit housed in a form different from our own." Her voice strengthened as she continued. "Together, we pave a new path for sector and human. Is this not the essence of evolution? To grow stronger through new bonds, new understandings?" Silence befell the chamber as the elders conferred among themselves, their mandibles clicking in a private language of deliberation. Kai's hand found Thera's, their fingers intertwining in the sector gesture of intimate connection. He cared little now who witnessed it. Finally, Elder Corin rose. "Strength comes in many forms. This, our ancestors knew well." His 4 eyes swept the chamber. They also knew that to stagnate is to perish. The bond between Engineer Brennan and Commander Thera demonstrates a harmony our scientists have sought for generations between our technologies. War Leader Vexar joined him. "If their bodies can find compatibility, perhaps our civilizations can achieve deeper integration as well." Elder Prime Zareth completed the judgment. "The bond is recognized, provided you serve jointly on missions that prove its worth. Show us that this union strengthens rather than weakens. Demonstrate that love can coexist with duty." Relief washed over Kai. Beside him, Thera's exoskeleton relaxed subtly, a change only he would notice. The conditional approval was more than either had dared hope for. As the delegation departed the following day, forward base. Talon settled into a new normal. The repairs from the Vrex raid continued. Systems were upgraded, and daily operations resumed. But something fundamental had shifted in the dynamic between human and sector personnel. Kai and Thera walked the corridors side by side, their collaborative approach to problem-solving becoming a model for others. Where once there had been strict separation between species, now there was cautious integration. Mixed engineering teams formed. Shared meals in the mess hall became commonplace. The barriers between worlds began to dissolve. One evening, as Cathmore's twin suns dipped toward the horizon, Kai found Thera on the observation deck. She stood silhouetted against the crimson sky, her exoskeleton reflecting the dying light. "The stabilizers are operating at 115% efficiency," he reported, moving to stand beside her. "Captain Morrison says it's a new record for any forward base." "Our methods will be implemented at other outposts," she replied, a note of pride in her voice. "The elders have approved the protocol transmission." They stood in comfortable silence, watching as the suns cast long shadows across the crystalline landscape. In the distance, the silhouette of a Vrex warship drifted away from Cathmore's orbit. No longer testing defenses, it could not penetrate. "Where next?" Thera asked quietly, her hand finding his. Kai looked up at the alien stars beginning to emerge in the darkening sky. "Anywhere," he answered. "As long as we face it together." She pulled him closer, her exoskeleton warm against his body. As they embraced, their silhouettes merged into one form against the crimson horizon, human and sector, once divided by worlds and traditions, now united by something stronger than either had imagined possible. In the engineering bay below, the quantum stabilizers hummed with perfect harmony, their crystals resonating in a frequency that echoed the unique bond of their creators. A new chapter had begun, not just for Kai and Thera, but for both their species, a future where difference became strength, and love transcended the boundaries of world and form. The red dust of Cathmore swirled in the evening breeze, carrying whispers of change across the planet's surface, and in forward base Talon, an engineer who had once called a warrior cute, held her in his arms, no longer afraid of her strength, but drawing courage from it instead. Together, they watched the stars emerge, each one a possibility neither would face alone. Across the vast expanse of space, among countless worlds and civilizations, Theirs was a story just beginning, a testament to the truth that even the fiercest warriors could learn to love, and even the most practical engineers could learn to see the beauty in alien harmonies. She had laughed when he called her cute, then punched him hard enough to crack his ribs. Now they stood as equals, pioneers of a bond that defied tradition, yet honored the deepest truths of both their peoples. Their kiss, silhouetted against Cathmore's fading light, sealed a promise that would echo across the stars. For in this universe of infinite diversity, they had discovered the most powerful force of all, one that neither quantum stabilizers nor plasma blades could match. A force that built bridges between worlds and transformed enemies into lovers. A force that would, in time, reshape the very fabric of their civilizations. Love, it seemed, transcended even the stars themselves.